Hello YouTube, my name is Lloyd, and a few weeks ago I made a video about equality and why I'm not a fan and why it's a fundamentally flawed idea. But at the same time I recognise that our society is currently still based on equality, or still has some fundamental place in our legal system. It's the reason, partly the reason why we have one person, one vote, and all the rest of it. It's it is an idea that's core in many people's understandings of the world. So I wanted to express an understanding of what I would replace equality with as an idea for our society. And I would put a democratic principle into our social outlook, into the way that people perceive how things should work, or how society should function. The democratic principle would have something on accountability being particularly important. It would also have an understanding of what bottom-up or top-down democracy looks like, as in if you're just voting for a president or something, then that's very top-down. But looking into the forces that lead people to have greater amounts of democratic power, smaller constituent areas, those constituent areas having greater autonomy and control over themselves. There are lots of other factors. Anyway, so yeah, I would replace equality with the democratic principle to understand how as many people can have as much say on the things that affect their lives, rather than be disenfranchised or isolated from decision-making processes or anything like that. Yeah, that's my idea. I think equality is such a bad idea. We need to replace it. We already have a good replacement. Athens had a very total democracy. I mean, I'm not suggesting that having slaves is a good idea. Obviously, slavery is a terrible idea, economically even, and personally, and for personal autonomy. And now I'm very overexposed, so I'll come over this way. I'll go in this way instead. So yeah, Athens had a legal system based on democracy, where they had 500 people in a jury that then voted. And you might think, well, you know, Athens voted to kill Socrates, and it's like, well, he was being a bit of a dick at the time. He decided that as his punishment he should be fed for free at the place where heroes of the city of Athens were fed for free for their whole duration of the rest of their lives, and that he should have that honor bestowed upon him as the punishment. And the other guy suggested that the punishment should be that he was killed, and the Athenians didn't like being insulted by Socrates, who was by all accounts a bit of an awkward fellow anyway. Decided that they would they voted to kill him rather than praise him and treat him like a hero. So I think that it's possible to have mechanisms that are more complex, that don't let people commit suicide by democracy and democratic decisions in the way that Socrates was then. I think, yeah. And we could democratically come and discuss those processes, and yeah, democracy replace equality. Equality is a bad idea. Democracy is a thing in the world. We can see it happening. We can see the outcomes. We can see the circumstances that lead from it. Athens, for example, had a democratic limitation on the amount of expenditure rich people could have. It also seems to be a bit of an answer for that level of inequality, that people don't have the power to express themselves and limit someone else with a overabundance amount of power. Yeah, that's the idea. Watch the video on equality if you really want to see some of the reasons why I think equality is a fundamentally bad idea. I could go on about that. It just is stupid, really. 17th century French idea. Yeah. Anyway, argue, discuss, be democratic about it. Because that's the point, isn't it? Be more democratic. Come to decisions with people who are affected by those decisions. Yeah, I don't know how I'd write those out. I think I would want to go through a democratic process, of discovering what those democratic principles should be and how they enact themselves. And the more democratic that process is, the better. And the more democratic the outcome would be. So me dictating what those principles should be is a bit contrary to what I'm trying to express. Yeah. So, yeah, argue like a Democrat, not like an American Democrat. That's obviously just a bad name. They've sort of named themselves in the same way that the Holy Roman Empire was neither Holy Roman or an empire. People's Democratic Republic of North Korea is, at least in North Korea, the Labour Party's got nothing to do with work. The Conservative Party, they want to frack everywhere, and they clearly don't want to conserve anything, not communities, not people's lives. You could say that they'd want to conserve their own wealth, but they don't want to conserve it. They clearly want to expand, possibly, the power of an elite. Anyway, yes, so, and social justice warriors are clearly antisocial and want to dismantle due process. So of course you'd call yourself social justice in your name, you'd put that in your name. Of course they're not warriors, they hardly get up early in the morning and fight. So yeah, the Democratic Party in America, yeah, the names of political movements, how they do not represent themselves, or do the opposite of represent themselves. Anyway, yeah, so argue, be democratic about it, discuss, come up with principles. My name was Lloyd. Thank you very much. Goodbye.